Good morning. It is 10:20 a.m. on Saturday, June 19th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis and I got up and I took a shower and stuff. This is 5 more minutes. So of course, today is Juneteenth. I talked a little bit about it yesterday, so I'm not going to really go back into it yesterday again, except to just say, yeah, today is that day. So this morning, yeah, I just sort of it's been hot, and I just sort of when I went to bed last night, I was sort of vaguely feeling like, oh, I feel like I should take a shower before bed, and but then my hair will be wet, and I'll have to stay up that much later, wait for it to dry, and so I didn't. But then when I woke up this morning, I was just going, blah, I feel gross. I need to take a shower, so I did. And then I kind of puttered around because I'd already broken the rhythm of doing this first thing in the morning. And, here I am now. Ta-da. Last night I rewatched The Great Escape because for Watching 100 Movies, Mike and I are next going to be talking about military and war films, and we've chosen three movies to approach them from sort of very different angles. And so The Great Escape is one of the three. The other two are The Hurt Locker and Starship Troopers. But The Great Escape is the one I watched last night, and it's a very good movie. And one of the things that I always find interesting about it is just it's more true to life than you'd think. I mean, when you watch it, there are a lot of things that feel vaguely implausible, but then you look it up and it's like, oh no, they actually did do that. I mean, there are parts of it that are fictionalized, of course, but by and large, the technical details of what and how they did what they did, it's pretty right on. I mean, right up until the ending when only three people actually get away. Spoilers for a 1963 movie. Is it 63? Might have been 68. Can't remember. In any case, yeah, but it's it's a World War II movie. Stars a lot of people about prisoners at a Nazi prisoner of war camp, notably one for officers, Air Force officers, which I mention only just because there are rules about that that probably didn't apply to lots of other places because, honestly, some of the things that feel a bit strange watching it today are the idea that, first of all, there are special rules for how you deal with prisoners of war, and in particular officers, like namely the way that you're allowed to treat them, the facilities that you have to provide, these sorts of things. And then also that the Nazis followed those rules more or less, at least sometimes. Because, just knowing what we know about concentration camps and so on, this camp, despite it being in with the intention of being very secure, seems relatively gentle in terms of they've got it pretty good there. Meaning, if any of these officers were content to not try to escape, they could do worse. Seems like they get food, they get shelter. They're not being forced to do hard labor or anything. So, not to imply that it's okay to keep someone a prisoner as long as you take good care of them, but the part that just feels a little bit strange is the idea of telling these Air Force officers that it is absolutely your duty as an Air Force officer to do your best to escape, and if you fail to escape, you should absolutely just try to make sure that the enemy has to devote as much of their resources as possible in order to keep you from escaping, just to generally harass them. And I think that's interesting just because, maybe it's just the way that wars have changed, but like, you don't really hear about prisoners of war anymore. And maybe part of that is just because, with the whole war on terror, we've like the people we capture as part of that, we decide, oh well, those are not, enemy combatants in the way that the prisoner of war rules apply, and I don't know, it's complicated. In any case, it's a very interesting movie watching it. Although what I will say is it's long, and frankly, it's it, it the bit after the ones that escape actually get out and they're trying to leave the country, and gradually most of them get rounded up and brought back or shot. Um, that part of the movie, maybe it's just the fact that I was ready to go to bed, but that part of the movie felt like it went on forever, and that part could have been trimmed by a lot. But generally very good. So in any case, that's The Great Escape, and of course one of the most lingering things about it, that I think just highlights the importance of a good score in a movie is that it provided dun 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 dun. Anyway, I'll leave it there and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.